Daniel?
Oh!
Good Day with Daniel Bennett.
Good day.
Well, hello. Hope you're having a great day. My name's Daniel Bennett. It's great to have you join us today. And today I want to be talking about embracing different seasons in life. But first, I want to do a quick topical study about romance. And so just looking at the Bible, what the Bible says, looking at some quotes. This isn't an in-depth study, just a very quick little dive into it. And, God's the one who invented romance. It's something that's important to him. I'd say between him and us, but also he's the one who invented it between husbands and wives. And so, first we'll look at 3 quotes and then we'll look at 3 scriptures. And when I do this, it's partly to spark, when you have questions, you can dive in and you can look up concordances and just look up a subject and a theme. You can look up what other people have said, all that. When I get really into a topic, what I often do is I'll buy multiple books on it, listen to teachings, look up different videos on it. First I'll typically go to a concordance and look up as many scriptures as I can. I usually start with the word and then I find related words and related themes and stuff like that. So that's kind of a topical approach. Sometimes it's fun to not do a topical approach and just kind of go more just line by line. So romance. First one by Eleanor Glynn. I don't know who a lot of these people are. Romance is the glamour which turns the dust of everyday life into a golden haze. And definitely, I get that, right? Because if you've ever been in love, even if it's like when you're a child and it's like puppy love, right? Which reminds me of a VeggieTales song. Sorry, but it's one of those things where when you're smitten, just breathing, the air smells better, music sounds better, food tastes better. You're just going around, you're just on cloud 9, everything's just the best. It's definitely one of those things where it's just kind of your whole perception of the world changes. And that's why it is so true in many ways that how we feel on the inside affects our experience. Because I'm talking about romance here, but another example, when my daughter was born, my firstborn, I had to run after a few hours. I went to I left the hospital to go buy some more outfits for her or something like that, and buy a few things that we needed. And so as I'm out walking about the store, I was like, I'm going to explode. I'm so happy. And I was like, I feel like I should be hugging everybody I see and celebrating with them, right? It's in a whole different mindset. And so, how we feel on the inside definitely affects our experience on the outside. And that's why, you get it when it's when you're not in love, you hear romance songs and you're like, it's so dumb and mushy. But when you are in love, you're like, that's kind of how I feel right now. So usually when you're not in love and you don't have a crush and you see someone who is, it's annoying. But when it's you, you're like, this is the best. Who cares if I'm annoying other people? The next quote by 𝗵𝗵𝗻𝗀𝗀. To love and be loved is to feel the sun from both sides. I'd say to be loved back, that definitely takes to another level. Having a crush on somebody, loving somebody, in having it not be responded, it's one-sided, then that can be very deflating. But when it does happen, when it is oh wow, I'm crazy about them and they're crazy about me, that is absolutely its own thing. It can be overwhelming, which is why people often make really dumb decisions when they feel this way. And so I don't think that the butterflies, those are all things that God invented. He invented being overwhelmed and mushy and romance and butterflies in your stomach and all that kind of stuff. He invented all that. But it should be balanced with wisdom, right? Sometimes you need to lean on others for wisdom because you're I'm not thinking clearly because I'm feeling the sun on both sides. I don't know. So if you have that self-awareness to realize I'm thinking goofy thoughts right now, and so I need some wisdom to help balance me out here. So the third quote, romance is the art of making a person feel cherished and special. And I like this one because it really is, it's the best form of romance is when you're not so focused on, wow, look at what they do for me and look at how they make me feel and look at how special they make me feel and all these ways they're going to bless me. And I can't believe this person who's so hot likes me. That's the selfish version. The true version is when you're so focused on wow, I get to bless this person, and wow, this person enjoys my company, and wow, my company blesses them, and my stories bless them, and living life together blesses them, and raising a family together blesses them. And it's more about generosity. So again, it's giving and receiving, but it's better when both people are focused on how they can bless the other instead of just what they can get out of it. So some scriptures on romance. it was challenging to not just pick 3 from Song of Solomon, but I managed. So Song of Solomon 2:16, I did pick one, saying, "My beloved is mine and I am his. He feeds his flock among the lilies." And so there's this desire to get as close as possible because romance is all about giving yourself, and you shouldn't fully give yourself to the other person until there's the boundaries of a covenant of marriage, right? And so anyway, I think we've kind of made a mess by allowing romance in all these seasons in life, right? When you're not even ready for marriage and just like playing around with it and broken hearts and, all this baggage of all these past relationships. And I think that society's made a big mess because it really, we shouldn't really play with that side of ourselves, that side of our hearts and just hurt ourselves, hurt other people until we're ready to actually give ourselves to them and them give themselves to us. Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. So husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Again, we can't even imagine how much that is. So, I mean, he's not saying like, because people always talk about, right, so wives submit to your husbands, and husbands love your wives. No, love your wife as Christ loves the church. I mean, how much does Christ love the church? More than you'll ever understand, and that's where he set the bar. So again, love is selfless, love is patient, love is kind, and that's what God's calling us to, and he's put it inside of us. He's put his love inside of us to love, and so it's not like he's saying do this in your own strength. He's saying, no, I've equipped you, I've made you capable of loving, of being kind, of being patient, of being selfless, of all these things, and I'm just asking you to treat your spouse the way that I treat you. 1 John 4:19, we love him because he first loved us. So those are 3 quotes and 3 verses on romance. And now we're going to talk about embracing different seasons in life. And so first we're going to show you this quick little promo and then we'll get to the main topic.
Life comes with all kinds of storms. But when your boat is sinking, you might want to step out and learn how to be a water walker. Log on to GoodDayGTN.com to get your free copy today.
I could probably make it easily like a top 100 movies that I like. And so that combined, right, that's like, 200 hours of movies? I couldn't even watch them all in the same day if I tried. Playing games, hanging out with different friends. There's no way I could hang out with all the people I care about in the same day, even in the same month. It'd be impossible. I can't eat all my favorite meals in the same day or even in the same month. I can't, right? There's limits. And I used to, it's similar to the fear of missing out, right? That's a common term now, is like the FOMO, is fear of missing out. And it's like, oh no, I need this. If I don't go to this, I'll miss out. If I don't buy this, I'll miss out. And it's a similar thing where we can feel like, oh no, like right now I'm focused on this in my life and I'm missing out on this other thing. And once I realized, like, just enjoy it for what it is. There's different seasons in life, embrace it, and don't worry about what you're not doing, just enjoy what you are doing. You can't do everything. And so I kind of want to share about how I kind of learned some of this and some of the keys to enjoying each season of life even more. I've had to go through this a lot. I've moved a lot in my life. I've been in a lot of situations where everything changes, right? So it's like when you move to different countries, different continents, you're always starting over. And when I finished high school, I went to high school in Chile. And when we graduated, like my friends and I, we all moved to different parts of the world, different parts of the country. When I was in the military, you might have a really fun season with a group of friends. And then little by little, one person gets stationed somewhere else, then someone else gets stationed somewhere else, and you get stationed somewhere else. And so it's like you have this amazing season and then it ends. And then another amazing season, right? A new group of friends, really fun, and then that one ends too. You move somewhere else and that one. And so I've experienced this a lot in life, and it used to grieve me a little bit because I would look back and say, that was such a fun season. I wish it hadn't ended. And especially the way I grew up, it's literally impossible for me to go back to where I grew up because it changed so much and the people I grew up with are all gone. So I can't even go somewhere and be like, I'm going back to my hometown. I don't have a hometown. If I went there, it wouldn't feel like my hometown. If all the people are gone, then it's just a location, and then even that's changed. So there's many different types of seasons. I want to share a few different examples because this can be deep things, it can be lighthearted things, it can be spiritual things, it can be just very mundane things. One example I'll give is video games. And this could, if you don't like video games, just insert any hobby in here that you want. But when I was a teenager, I didn't have much money and I didn't have much access to buy video games. And so I had a lot of free time. So when I got a game, I was like, how long is this game? Because I want to get my money's worth. I want a game that will last me, 40 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours. I really want my money's worth because I might only get like 3 games a year. And so I was like, I had time, but I didn't have money. Then as I got older, I started having enough money to buy more stuff, but I didn't have as much time to do it, right? Like right now, I could buy any game that I wanted. Like nothing's stopping me, except that I don't have time to play them, right? And so things shift where I used to have time, no money. Now I have money, no time. Now I value my time more. Like I used to say, if I'm not enjoying this, well, I paid money for it. So I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to play this boring game because I refuse to admit I wasted my money. And now I'm like, if I'm not enjoying this thing, my time is way too valuable to do something that isn't fun, right? If I start a movie and 5 minutes in, I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not going to waste 2 more hours. I'll just be like, this is stupid, and I'll turn it off. It can annoy my wife sometimes because I'll be like, want to watch a movie, and we sit down, and I'm like, well, this is dumb. I'm not wasting my time. And so she'll be like, yeah, I think it's dumb too. So we'll turn it off, or else I'll just leave if she's enjoying it and I'm not. I was like, I don't have enough time to just waste it on stuff. When I was young and single, when I was in my early 20s in the military, I used to go to the movie theater like once a week, maybe twice a week. I loved watching new movies. And now I might go to the theater once a year at most. And so I just don't have the time for that. It's not important enough to me. I still like it, but there's other things I like even more. And so there's different seasons, right? I had a season where I enjoyed that. That was fun in its own way. But now I'm in a different season, right? There's other things I enjoy. And so instead of being like, I wish I had more of this, I wish I had more of that. See, if you don't recognize a season, this can happen with many hobbies, is that you remember who you used to be. So you're like, oh, I used to have all this time and not enough games. So I need to buy all the fun games. And you spend all this money, say if you like fishing, whatever it is, you buy all this equipment and then you realize, I don't have time to go fishing that much. And so you have to realize the season that you're in, or you'll start making decisions that aren't accurate, where you'll start to invest money in things that you don't have time for, things like that. And so, again, it doesn't have to be video games. It could be any hobby. It could be reading books. It could be Frisbee golf. It could be hiking, whatever it is that seasons change. I used to hang out with friends all the time. I used to, probably 3, 4, 5 times a week, I'd hang out with friends when I was single. And then now I might hang out with friends outside of work, like once a month, maybe once or twice a month. And it's just a different season. I used to be very social, and now my favorite people are my wife and my kids. And so I was like, why would I leave the house when my favorite people are in my house? And so if I can't take them with me, what's the point of leaving? So there's different seasons in life. A different type of season is that when I was single, and especially before I had kids, I loved to volunteer. I'd volunteer tons of hours. I'd travel the world to go serve missionaries and do all kinds of stuff. I really enjoyed that. Now that I have kids, I prioritize raising my kids, where it's like, I still love serving, but now they're my main ministry. So guess what? I don't volunteer at all right now. And I don't feel bad about it one bit. Some people are like, if you love Jesus, you'll always serve. Well, I am serving. I'm serving my family. When I was single, when I didn't have little kids, I served my church, I served my community, I served missionaries, whatever else. Now my focus is on my kids. When they get older, we'll serve together. When I'm an empty nester, then I'll go back to doing more serving outside the house. There's different seasons. And see, if you don't realize that, if you say, well, I have little ones who need me, but I have to serve as much as I used to outside of my home, then you have this strain because you're not accepting the fact that things have changed. Right now, you need to focus on this, and it's okay, right? And maybe people will judge you. Who cares? I won't go into this whole rant, but yeah, I don't care about peer pressure at all, especially Christian peer pressure. Like, how dare you not this? It's like, you have no say in my walk with God. I'm going to do what God leads me to do. I'm not going to respond to need or peer pressure. I'm going to respond to what God leads me to do and enjoy it. And so again, but the only way to do that though is to realize that was a season and it was fun. Right now, my season's different. I'm going to embrace it for what it is. And someday this one will change also. And someday that one will change also. And I can't try to keep doing everything I used to do. Imagine if I tried to still serve as much as I used to, and socialize as much as I used to, and play video games as much as I used to, and watch movies as much as I used to, and now also raise my family, raise my kids. I'd be terrible at all of it, right? And so it's like, no, those were fun. Those were a good season. Maybe I'll do some of that again someday. But right now, this is the season that I'm in. And so if you don't accept that, you'll be miserable because you'll be trying to juggle too many things. I was telling somebody recently, I was like, I don't have too much it's not that what I have, it's not that what I'm juggling is too heavy. It's not too much. It's that there's too many of them. I was like, I feel like I'm juggling marbles, where it's like, it's not that they're too heavy for me, it's that there's too many of them. And sometimes it's not that what you're doing is too intense, it's that there's too many things you're trying to squeeze into your day. And you realize, I'd rather juggle 3 oranges than 5 marbles, because 5 marbles, I'm gonna drop something. It's not too heavy, it's just too much. And I'll enjoy life more if I just say, for right now, I won't do this, and I'm just going to really enjoy this over here, and I'm not gonna feel guilty about it. I'm just gonna enjoy this season in my life. And again, it can be for many different types of things. Hobbies, serving, another one's travel. I used to travel all the time. I loved travel. And you could even say that I kind of saw part of my identity in travel in a not good way, where I needed to not see that as a key part of who I was. And now I don't think I've left the country in probably 9 years. A few years ago, I noticed my passport had been expired for years and years, and I didn't even notice when that used to be something that I constantly was using. And someday I'm sure I'll travel a lot again, but right now that's just not the season, and I don't feel bad about it. Like, that was a fun season. Right now it's a fun season. So again, many different types of seasons. And again, the reason why this is important is because, like I said, if we learn to embrace them, we'll enjoy life more. If we don't embrace the season that we're in, we'll always feel guilty for what we're not doing. We'll try to maintain every single thing. Oh, that was a fun thing. I need to keep it up forever. And sometimes you have to accept, that's not what I'm doing right now. I'm going to enjoy this one right now. And it can be all kinds of stuff. It can be spiritual things, right? Maybe for a season, you really enjoy worshiping God for 4 hours a day, right? There's been seasons in my life where I could spend like 8, 10, 12 hours a day in the Word and worship, journaling, all that kind of stuff. And if I still felt guilty I can't do that, then I'd just be miserable. It's like, no, that was a really fun season, but now I can't do that. Maybe someday I can again. But seasons change. Maybe for a season, you're like, I just want to spend hours and hours and hours reading the Word every single day. And then you're in a season where you can't read it as much. When I first got started in ministry, I was single. And I used to spend 10 hours on average preparing for every message. So for every 1 hour of teaching, I prepared for 10 hours. And now there's no way I could do that. But that was a fun season when I could do that. But now it's like, oh, I can't spend 10 hours on each message right now. And if I felt guilty, then I'd be miserable. Instead, it's just like, it is what it is. Different season. That was really fun at the time. So yeah, one of the keys to enjoying seasons is to recognize when they change. It's to be paying attention and realize, oh, this is different. Like even right now at work, my role has changed a bit. So if I hadn't recognized it, I'd be confused. But I was like, oh, my role is shifting, so I need to make some adjustments. So I'm going to do less of this and more of this. Different things like that. Right? Again, it can be all kinds of stuff. Sometimes I love to read books, and I just read tons of books, and I buy lots of books, and maybe for like 6 months, I just read and read and read and read and read. And then I might go a year hardly reading at all. And I used to be like, what's wrong with me? And I was like, oh, I just am in a different season. I'm focused on it. Right now, I prefer listening to music, and that's fine. So it can be big things and little things, deep things and simple things, the whole deal. So again, if you recognize it, you can embrace it. So the first key is to really know that this can happen. Just because the season changed doesn't mean that that's not something that you'll ever do again. But then being able to recognize it more quickly, because sometimes when you're dissatisfied or frustrated in life, one of the things you can do is back up and say, has the season shifted, right? If you liked a job a lot and now suddenly you don't like it, maybe the grace has lifted because that season's ending and God's preparing your heart to go to a new one. And if you don't realize it, you might start getting frustrated and discontent and like, what's wrong? Why do I not like my job? Why do I not like my coworkers? Why do I not like whatever else? And you might not realize, oh, it's not them. It's that my season's changing. And so the grace is taking me elsewhere, right? The grace is lifting right now. And I need to open my eyes and start saying, okay, God, where do you want me to go next? Yeah, like I said, I used to feel bad for the season that I wasn't in anymore. And then I was like, oh, I don't need to feel bad. This is just, things are just changing. It's fine. Yeah, again, seasons, thinking of a quick example, a micro version of this is like, imagine that you're at a birthday party or at a concert or watching fireworks and everybody pulls out their phone and just films it, right? That's an easy one where you're like, just enjoy the moment. Who needs a little video of that? I'm not saying never film anything, especially like fireworks, right? Who's ever looked at a phone and it's been like, I'm so glad I'm watching this fireworks on your phone. But people, and everybody does it. And so that's an easy one, right? Where you're like, enjoy the moment. Don't worry about if you'll have a video of this later, just enjoy it. Let it be a memory, even if you don't record it. So in the same way, I think most of us realize that, where we all can look at somebody doing that and say, you're missing out on the moment. Okay, take that beyond a moment and think of it as a 6-month or 2-year, whatever the season duration is. Say, don't just enjoy where you are, enjoy the current season for what it is. And enjoy it. Don't feel bad that you're not doing all the other things. Because maybe you're in a season where you have to maybe you're going to school and working. And so you don't have time for hobbies and you don't get to socialize as much. Okay, but it's a season, enjoy it, embrace it, because there's going to be a time when you won't get to spend that much time studying and growing and learning. You'll be more busy with other responsibilities. So just, if we recognize it, we can learn to embrace it. Instead of grieving the season that we're not in, we can just be thankful for the one, like, oh, that was a really fun season. I can celebrate that it happened. I can be thankful that it happened, but I'm not going to ruin my current season by being in grief that my last season ended. So one of the ways to do this is asking God, how can I make the most of today? Right? Okay, today, yes, I love that season. It's not my season anymore. Today, Lord, how can I make the most of this? Today can be an amazing day. How can I do that? What's in front of me? What opportunities do I have right now? And then also, how can I prepare for the next season? So how can I enjoy today? And at the same time, how can I take steps to move toward my next season also? You can imagine if King David, when he was a king, he's like, this is no fun. I miss being a shepherd. Life was so simple back then. He would miss out, right? No, you were a shepherd. That was a cool season. Just playing your harp and singing to the sheep. That was a fun season, but now you're the king. Or imagine if when he was the shepherd, he's like, this is no fun because someday I'm going to be king. No, just enjoy being the shepherd, enjoy being the king. And when you're the king, you're not the shepherd. You have more responsibility, right? Things change in life and it's great to embrace it. So again, the keys, the main keys are, first of all, recognize it. The next one's embrace it. Third one is be thankful for the one that ended. And the fourth one is invest toward the next one. So hope this is helpful. I'm going to wrap up with some Q&A here real quick for the last couple minutes. And the first question that we have is, how can I develop a growth mindset and push through challenges without giving up? And that first part, a growth mindset, I mean, that one really is just about being inspired and just saying, like, I see the value and I want to grow. Every day I see as an opportunity to enjoy the moment, but also how can I grow toward who I want to be? And that's one of the keys I'd say is, don't focus so much on what you do, focus more on who you are. How can I become more of the person that I want to be? Because that will never leave you. What you do can come and go, but who you are can keep growing forever, right? So again, every season, there's seasons where you do different things in life, but who you are is a continual progression where you can just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And that's kind of that never-ending journey, even though the seasons come and go. So I say that ties in with this is embrace the different seasons, but have a mindset that who you are will become stronger and more solid and more refined every day. That today you can be more of the real you than you were yesterday, things like that. So next question is, how do I deal with setbacks and keep moving forward? Yes, there will be setbacks. There might be seasons where it's like, because I made a mistake, my season is not as good as last season. So there can be setbacks where things didn't go the way that you wanted. Maybe you hit a barrier. Maybe you have to start from scratch. Maybe you thought you were making progress and now you're going backwards. And like I said, part of it is realizing who I'm becoming didn't get a setback. I'm still growing, so I still have forward momentum in who I'm becoming, but what I'm doing might have had a setback, where maybe I was a leader and now I'm not a leader. Maybe I started a business and now I have to get a job somewhere else because my business failed, or what. If there's something like that or a setback, just realize on the inside, you didn't have to have a setback. You could see this as constant growth, is that I'm becoming stronger, I'm becoming wiser, I have more insight, I know how to do things better. And so, yeah, when there's challenges, just realize this is not who I am. Who I am is still growing, and this right here is just the new thing I need to overcome. And just keep going and keep going, right? Failure doesn't have to be the end. It can just be, that's one way not to do it. Next time I'll do it better. So I hope this is helpful. Actually, I'm gonna do one last question. How do you deal with setbacks and keep moving forward? Oh, I just did that one. What's the best way to communicate with others without being misunderstood? So that's a very good question. So the best way to communicate with others without being misunderstood, this very much depends on who the other person is. So I'd say empathy is one of the keys to good communication. So instead of just asking yourself, what do I want to say? You can ask yourself, what do I want them to hear? Like, it's not about, did I say it the right way? Because they have to interpret everything that you say, someone else has to hear and process and interpret. And so one of the keys to good communication is to say, how do they hear? What are their filters? What do they understand? I want to say it in a way that they'll understand it the way that I meant it. And so focusing on them and how they're going to hear it, like, you need to be aware of your audience to know how to communicate more effectively. And the more you focus on them and how they understand, and even getting feedback, like, did you understand what I'm saying? The more you understand how they're processing, you can adapt what you say. Like, even like talking with my children, I can say something and then I can tell, like, did they understand me or not? So you adjust based on them. So the key to communication is the other person hearing you correctly. So focusing on them. Like, even with directing movies, I was reading a book about directing movies, and it said a director is actually directing the audience's attention. See, a director is not just focused on the actors and the story. What they're really focused on is what's happening to the audience. Are they seeing what I want them to see? Are they thinking what I want them to think? Are they feeling what I want them to feel? And so by doing that, by focusing on the audience, you become more effective at communication. And this even works with emails, right? Where it's like, I'm not just going to write what I think, but then when they read this email, will they understand what I meant? And so, yeah, I think it's very powerful. Just thinking about this stuff makes us more effective, because it's about stepping outside of ourselves and saying, I know what I meant, but do they know what I meant? And so that's one of the keys to communication. So we'll wrap up with that. I hope this has been helpful. Have an amazing rest of your day. We'll see you next time. And don't forget that if you go to gooddaygtn.com, you can get our free giveaway. I highly recommend you check this out. It's digital or physical copy of it. You can get this free booklet, How to Become a Water Walker. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.